How do you do? My name's Alex Jennings. It's great to be part of this virtual OA Summit. It would have been nice to have been there in person, or having been able to get a haircut. But anyway, you can't win them all, and it's great to be part of this setup. So I work for a company called Qubix, and the aim of Qubix is to improve the performance our customers are getting by using data. And I lead the Q Health part of the organisation, which aims to have the same goals in the healthcare sector. I'm going to talk to you today about our advanced analytics product for healthcare, Q Health Advanced Analytics, which we call ward-to-board analytics. Qubix works with a wide range of healthcare organisations. Some of these are customers, for example, life sciences organisations, the NHS organisations. Some of these we work with because they're exemplars of the use of data within healthcare, such as AFA and NHS improvements. But the common thread with all of these organisations we work with is that we aim to learn from them. And the technology we're going to see in the demonstration later has been built in conjunction with hospitals. So we provide quite a range of services to hospital operators, and if you just consider hospital operators for a bit, our view of them tends to be the view that we get from visiting hospitals, but they're very diverse operations. But they want basically the same things. They want to improve clinical outcomes, they want to improve operational performance, and they want to improve financial performance. And Qubix has created some products, some templated products, which help them achieve these goals. So the first one, Q Health Financial Planning, that's pretty current now, actually. In post-COVID, quite a lot of hospital organisations are looking to reshape permanently their operations. One NHS trust we're working with is looking to double ITU capability, for example. And they can use the Q Health Financial Planning to help them affect that change. So they can look at the staffing level changes that the doubling of ITU would need, and then they can look at the impact on financial performance that would take as well. So they can use that for that sort of planning, but it does the standard forecasting, budgeting, and financial modelling that you have to do on a kind of month-to-month or yearly basis. Now, the Q Health Advanced Analytics, we call that ward-to-board analytics because it aims to improve operations from the hospital ward all the way through to the boardroom, to every kind of area of hospital operations. Now, I want to give you a couple of reasons why we're using templated products, but before that, we'll just talk a little bit about some of the issues that we've seen in healthcare analytics. And we don't think this is a laggard sector. Some of the stuff that we see in healthcare from an analytic perspective is tremendous. Life sciences, for example, really kind of blows me away. But there are some problems that we think are pretty consistent, and a lot of these problems we think stem from hospitals putting in tactical solutions or point solutions to solve a problem, but then these solutions don't scale. So that then gives you knock-on issues with legacy siloed data, so on, which then give you further knock-on issues with adoption and difficult to use products and lack of collaboration. And then finally, it's also not a cheap way of operating. It's not an efficient way to have lots of different solutions, and you get lots of unexploited data and unsupported decisions, and so on. Why are we using templated products? Well, it's to solve those problems. We can introduce cloud platforms. That gives us the scalability. We can start small and coexist with other solutions, but then when we start to coalesce and grow onto it, we've got ultimate scalability. And we get great capability with it. The modern cloud platforms are extremely advanced in the capability that they provide, and then there's a Qubix layer on top of that, and you get an overall better experience as well as consistent products and stuff. We can afford to do the sort of things in projects which often get left-right training and so on, and it's a lot more efficient overall for hospitals. Our project implementation, a lot of it's pre-built, so we're deploying in months rather than kind of the years it would take to kind of get to this level of capability. And we can even avoid capex as well. We can do it without any capex. So it's a very financially efficient way of advancing technology within a hospital. So I'll just talk a little bit about the technology itself. So I'll talk, and I will talk about improving clinical outcomes, operational performance, and financial performance. And to do that, of course, you need clinical, operational, and financial data, which exists in a whole range of sources within a hospital. And we want to combine all that. So we've got a data structure to do that, but also we've introduced integration capability, Cloud Bridge and ODI, with pre-built integrators to do those transformations and technology to align disparate patient keys and so on. So that's a challenging thing to do for most organisations, and we make that easier. And it does work. The trusts we work with, they're able now to take on new sources easily on their own. Now, we want to coalesce that data, of course, and to do that, we use a very advanced piece of technology called the Autonomous Cloud Data Warehouse, ADW. Brilliant piece of Oracle technology, and what that does, it allows you to just go about the business of getting value from your data, while in the background it is patching itself and it's tuning itself. And it practically works in our projects. What we're finding is that we're throwing pretty big data sets at it and pretty mixed workloads, but we're finding we don't need to do any tuning, a tuning phase in the project. So it practically works. Now, the final part of the puzzle in the cloud, Oracle Cloud that we're using, is Analytics Cloud, which is a very fully featured piece of analytics capability, which gives you all of the reporting, analytics, machine learning, whatever capability you want, which we can then embed into other systems or on boards within hospitals, or is available via browser or mobile. And again, mobile's kind of underused, I think, in healthcare, but we've got some customers, such as a care home operator that we've worked with, who are using that for their mobile workforce, so they're pre-armed with data before they land on site. Now, as well as all that platform capability, as I was saying, Qubix has built capability on top of all that specifically for hospitals. So we call these content areas, and we can see a list of some of those here. But if we just pick on one of them, A&E attendances, which I'll be talking about in the demo a little bit. What is a content area? Well, it's the data integration. As I mentioned, we've got to get the data from the sources. We've got to land that in a coherent model, which again is all pre-built, so the data can be reported on effectively. We've also introduced a whole load of measures and KPIs. Now, hospitals may have their own measures and KPIs, but we've got a starting set here, so we can use what they've got, or we can start with this set, which will allow them to measure in a wide area of their operations to track their performance. So it's a good way of increasing capability. And then, of course, we've got the content. We've got dashboards, reports, and so on, which we'll see. Now, critically, all of these areas are extendable and changeable by a hospital. It's not a walled garden, the system we've built. It's capable without changing, but it's all changeable and all extendable, and no changes are going to affect the viability and the future upgradability of the system. And as I've said, there's a lot of ways of getting value out of this system in terms of analytics, reports, dashboards, machine learning. You can question it, and we're going to look at a small number of those in the demo that I'm going to show you. The first thing we're going to look at is finance, and I'm starting off with a really boring looking report here. So why I'm showing you a boring report to start with? Well, if we're going to consolidate onto this type of platform, then we're going to need to be able to do the standard stuff like the dashboard in front of me and the printed report I've just shown you. But the key thing about this platform is that we're going to be able to automate all of this data. And by doing that, we're going to get to free up people's time so they can actually look at the more interesting types of data, which I'm going to come on to, and the new ways of visualizing that the tool provides. So as well as the finance dashboard we've just seen, we've combined the data with operational data and been able to present it in whichever views we want. So here we've got a view by service reporting group, and we can start to look at operations across that service reporting group, if we look at our areas here, we can see that we've got a problem child area here. We've got gastro, which is a loss-making area. I click on that one. We can immediately see that we have an increase in the number of procedures, but our revenue has increased not as fast as our cost, which has put us into a loss. So, if we have a look at another area, if we have a look at cardio, we can drill into that. And there's no limit really to the level of data that we can add to the solution. So here we're looking at a diagnostic reporting group, which is a lower level, but also a different view of the data. If we looked at the profitability of the area, you can see that quite a number of these diagnostic reporting groups are loss-making. And again, we can drill in to our final level of detail, which in this case is episode of care, which is usually the ultimate level of lowest level of detail in a hospital. We can combine this with workforce data, so we can find who's worked on what area. But if the data isn't available within the hospital, that doesn't break the views. It means that we won't be able to provide the views, but we can layer that on when the data becomes availability. So for finance data, we've definitely got all of the capability that you're going to need to run a hospital smoothly. Now, operational analytics, similar thing. As I was saying, we've built a lot of KPIs and measures, and we can demonstrate those in dashboards as we've done here. And the dashboards can be interactive. And so people can kind of get the data in the one to perform investigations. We've got performance tiles here, and we can drill into to those if the alerting is so desired, so people can investigate as we do in there. Now, what we can do, we can use alerts on these KPI thresholds. So if these are triggered, then people will get sent a link to the dashboard. We can also do that to burst financial reports monthly and so on and so forth, to really make the operation areas a lot more effective and automated. But we've gone a bit beyond that. What we've done with the product is really look at how operations can be materially improved with analytics. So what I'll click onto here is a statistical process control chart, and we work with NHS Improvements on this, and this is their latest standard. And the advantage of SPC over dashboarding is if you bring an operational area into statistical process control, then it will actually tell you when to make the intervention, at the right time to make an intervention. So this is a really, really effective way of driving operational stability and improvement in a hospital. However, it does get a bit of a bad name occasionally, and the reason for that is that it's quite difficult to get all of the data wrangled and prepared. So we're automating all that procedure, and we're also making it easier for people to understand what's going on. So we can see we've color-coded the points here, and then we've provided a description. So people can get a good feeling of how the statistical process works, even though they may not be experts in that area. Now, obviously, if you've got a lot of operations within statistical process control, then that's quite a lot to monitor. So what we've done, we've made these performance tile overview dashboards, so people can see at a glance whether their operations are within control or not. And again, we can automate the alerting and all of that to make it easier to manage by exception. Now, one key way of improving operations within any area really is to allow people to do their own investigations with the analytics. And this tool is about the easiest to use on that. So what you can do, you can actually ask it questions. So if I go for know a number of attendances, it'll actually answer that question. So a number of attendances, we'll pick a year, that financial year, please, and it'll tell you the answer. And we can go on more there. cost center name, and it will actually start to then build up some analytics for us. There we go. So we can actually just answer questions. Well, we want number of attendances by year, by cost center, by diagnosis, and it's now generating its own analysis for you to help you explain and understand that area. So asking questions is a really good way, and you can actually speak to it on a mobile if you wish. But also you can just start from scratch. So I'm in the data visualizer tool here, and I can start to create a visualization. So if I want to add data to it, you can see all of my data is organized for me by area, so it's all corralled nicely into an understandable area. But I've got my data added to this one already, so I can just I'll go for number of attendances again. So I can just drag that data onto the canvas should I want, and it'll immediately come up with the same tile as it's just done. So we'll go. But with this, we'll go for date. Well, we'll have a look for date. Double click. Now I've got a line chart, which it's picked for me as the most appropriate visualization. And we'll keep doing that if I add more data on. So I'll get my hospitals on there. Now that's made my hospitals look. It's made my visualization a bit messy. So I can easily change that. You can see there's a whole palette of visualizations, and it will actually give you advice on which is the right one to use if you wish. So we've got a visualization there. So I'm just going to copy that visualization and do something else with it. So we've got our visualization duplicated there, and I'll get rid of the date off it, and I'm going to turn it into a table. Okay, so we now have a visualization that is in tabular form and our chart. We can start to do some more investigation. So I can add my number of breaches to the target we've been looking at. So we've got our breaches there as well. And what I can do then, I can make this a filter. And as you can see, it's now going to actually drive our visualization there. So we can see our individual hospitals' contribution to overall attendance rates. And the tool's got a whole load of investigative tools which you can use to point and click. You can add code as well, but we're going to add some statistics to it. So let's add a reference line, and an average is fine, and we're going to add a trend as well. Now we don't have a trend of linear as a polynomial, so we can see there it's put its sinusoidal type curve over it, and we can do some investigation. We've got Stroud Hospital, which looks the same as Cirencester Hospital in terms of the number of attendances, but the much higher breaches at our Cirencester Hospital. So if we look at our kind of control hospital here, and then we'll click on our problem hospital, we can see that there's much bigger deviation from the mean without as much bigger swings in our attendances, and maybe that's what's leading to the breaches to our attendance treatment target KPI there. So you can see that nothing difficult in what I've done any of this. Anybody can do this, and the tool itself can do some very sophisticated things for you. So if we want to change one of these analysis I've just cloned into a word cloud, it will actually mark your chart up automatically with text. So it's a very sophisticated piece of technology, but really easy for managers to use. There's almost no lead time to them picking up and using this tool, because it's point and click, a lot of help available for you. Now, because visualizations are very easy to build, and because all the data is organized in our model, what we can do is take that a stage further. And what we're looking at here is project analytics that we can use to build on one area of hospital operations to really get under the covers of what's going on in that and drive improvement in that area. And this is one we did for Gloucester Hospital for their A&E 4-hour target. So we've got by site here. And we can see if we click on a particular site, Cirencester is our worst performing there. We can see it highlighted dark. We can see its contribution to the overall areas. If I click on a particular data set, you can see how it highlights them all in the chart. So it's very easy to see what's going on and build a picture or an understanding of what's going on in the hospital by looking at this data. We've got one from time period, we can say here. We've also got by workforce and stuff. So we built it up in across the dimensions so they could really get an understanding of what's going on. So we saw that Cirencester was the worst hospital there. And again, all the data's in there, every level, so we can drill into the data. So we've built a drill there already, but we can drill into a specific area. So we'll go for cost centre, which is hospital in this model. And then we can pick Cirencester. And then we'll drill again. We'll drill into, let's make it a bit bigger. And then we'll drill into, find out where the breaches are going on. Okay, so now we can see that these areas are our targets for fixing our KPI in this. So we can drill to any level. So any level of analysis is going to be possible with the tool. Now, another function that the tool has got is the narrate function. So we can actually add the data that we've created, our visualizations that we've created on our canvases. We can curate those down to a list, and we can actually mark those up. So we can then send it for people to take some action, or we can just mark up what we're thinking about the analysis that we're doing to allow us to take notes and build up a picture of the understanding. We can also do a presentation, just like a PowerPoint. So you actually don't even need to create PowerPoints from all this. It's already built into the tool. So this sort of capability really helps you drive operational improvement, and because there's no user cost, or everybody in the hospital or area can benefit from this tooling, and pretty much everybody will be able to pick this sort of thing up. The tools itself is very, very simple to use. Okay, so we had a look at the analysis of a KPI breach. This is actually a KPI that was really quite important. There was a government drive to reduce waiting times in A&E departments, or MIU departments if it's a non-acute hospital trust in the UK. And you can see our GCS pilot site, they reduced their peak monthly breaches of the KPI by 50% since go live by doing this sort of analysis of the area. And they've gone further as well. I've talked about BSA, who saved over $1 billion for the NHS by using the OAC technology on anti-fraud. So they're doing quite sophisticated analysis of patient prescription data to uncover problems in that area. And we say we've got an ability to store and coalesce all the data into one area and combine clinical and operational and financial data together to really answer questions like, if we increase the staffing in our X-ray area, is this going to lead to the sort of throughput improvement that would reduce our breaches of the KPI from that cause? Our pilot site has gone really, really well. I think they're already up to about 900 users, I think, on the system. They've got it across all of the areas. What I didn't show you actually was that if the system tracks all usage by all of the populations. So if, for example, clinical are laggards in adoption, we'll know this, and we can actually target then drives to improve the usage of the system in those areas. So everything is audited in terms of use of the system. The site, they've got 32 sources now live. I think more than that now, but they started off with 18, and all of the others they've done without the help of Qubix. So they're pretty self-sufficient there. And the future-proof, they've got a lot of there's a lot of stuff coming online with this product. If you adopt this product, you've got Oracle working on your behalf. They're releasing new capabilities with the DV all the time. You've got Qubix working on your behalf. We're releasing new capabilities, doing a machine learning pilot at the moment for predictions in the MIU area and others. And there's new functionality with the visualizations coming in all the time. So you've got a lot of people working on your behalf. We started off by talking about the healthcare sector and hospital operators and how they've got diverse operations with a lot of specialisms, and how that's probably led to a lot of the issues that they've now got with analytics. And we covered that we have some solutions to those problems, and primarily our solutions are to introduce scalable, future-proof cloud platforms and use templated products. And by doing that, we get the range of capability and the future-proofing that hospital operators need to allow them to get the best compromise between clinical outcomes, operational performance, and financial performance. As we've seen, we've been getting good results from that at the sites which have gone for this approach, and I think it's a very good approach for healthcare operators. So we're going to go to a Q&A part of the session where you can ask kind of whatever you want.